Live with Jeff Koinange and Olive Barrows.
And welcome to the 15th day of March 2026. For those of you who have read Shakespeare, it's the Ides of March. If you know, you know. Right behind me, the new WRC Safari champion, yes, Takamoto Katsuta. He won this a couple of hours ago in Naivasha at Hell's Gate. It was a grueling event, and we're gonna get some perspective from this man right here, who won quite a few events of his own back in the day. Patrick Njiru, superstar. He never gets old, this man. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what the secret is. He never gets old. And here's a gentle reminder. The floods that have been devastating the country have caused 69 lives. So far, 69 lives. And most of them are probably in Nairobi County. We'll give you the numbers a little shortly. And here's the ceremony a little earlier on with Takamoto Katsuta getting his award from President William Ruto at Hell's Gate. The new champion of the WRC. First Japanese, by the way, to win this award. And did I tell you that Patrick Njiru speaks fluent Japanese? Arigato domo gozaimasu. I'm going to be speaking to that in a little short while. In the meantime, start tweeting at Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya. The hashtag is Sunday Live. Sunday Live begins right now, tonight. Outrage and demand for answers. KMPDU demands for the release of Dr. Joe Obwaka and Kenya Hospital Association Vice Chairman Samson Kinyanjui as police wade into Nairobi Hospital leadership row. Private hospital, public character. How Harambee House and State House pressed for changes in the Nairobi Hospital Board of Management. Floods devastation. Homes destroyed. 600 households displaced as flood-related deaths climbs to 69. Pain of losing property. Former CS Raphael Tuju and staff hold prayers outside Dari Business Park as police camp at the property for the second straight day. And welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Eula Nzali. We begin Sunday Live at the Nairobi Hospital, one of the country's most prestigious hospitals, but tonight, a scene of rather mysterious events. Several people, including an elderly doctor, a director of the Nairobi Hospital, are currently in police custody for the second straight night on offenses that are yet to be disclosed. Dr. Job Obwaka, a Kenya Hospital Association director, Samson Kinyanjui, board vice chair, and an advocate, Valerie Gaya, a director in charge of human resources, and former director, Chris Bishage, are being held at various police stations awaiting possible arraignment. The Doctors Association, KMPDU, has now warned that it could down its tools over the mysterious arrests. The Law Society of Kenya has also expressed alarm over the arrests of the Nairobi Hospital officials. Let's begin our broadcast with our very own Seth Olale.
The elderly Dr. Job Obwaka, a director at the Kenya Hospital Association and an admitting consultant at the Nairobi Hospital, and the Nairobi Hospital Board Vice Chairman, Samson Kinyanjui, are being held at the Muthaiga Police Station. Another director, Valerie Gaya, is being held at the Pangani Police Station alongside former director Chris Bishage. Officials from the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union, Law Society of Kenya, human rights activists, and family members demanded answers from the officer in charge, Muthaiga Police Station, where the two officials are being detained.
That a doctor gets abducted at his place of work while he's seeing the patient. He left mothers there in a very bad status.
It is quite unfortunate that an investigation that has been ongoing, the DCI decide to arrest persons on a Friday or a Saturday so that they can spend the weekend behind bars.
To snatch up a 79-year-old man from his place of work. This is a man who has been serving this country in various capacities for the last 50 years, all across the country. He has no criminal history. He is not a flight risk. He is not a danger or a threat to anybody.
KMPDU and LSK are threatening mass action if the two officials will not be released by authorities Sunday midnight, citing violation of court orders by the police.
Whoever arrested Dr. Obuaka has to make him to be released before the midnight today. Otherwise, we're going to ask every doctor that you are not safe in your clinics tomorrow. You are not safe at your place of work, and we must stand against an injustice.
The Law Society of Kenya and us lawyers, we are going to take action against any officer who is found to be liable for this kind of actions that constitute promotion of impunity in our country.
Until Sunday evening, efforts by Citizen TV to obtain official charge sheets from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution were futile.
There are some charge that has been written in the occurrence book that is related to matters that have been in court, touching on Nairobi Hospital and the records of the hospital.
The allegation that has been put on him is that in 2024, during the Kenya Hospital Association's AGM, that they were accused of alteration of register.
Both the prosecution and the defense teams are preparing for a legal showdown on Monday, even as the matter now takes a legal turn. Seth Olale, Citizen TV, Muthaiga Police Station, Nairobi County.
On that same story, tonight it is emerging that President William Ruto's name has been invoked in a series of meetings where senior government operatives pushed for changes in the board of the Nairobi Hospital. Monday last week, the chairman of the Nairobi Hospital, Dr. Barclay Onyambo, was summoned to Harambee House, that's the office of the president, and was instructed to cause 3 vacancies in the board, and names were issued as replacement for those vacancies. We're going to have that story very shortly from our very own Odie Francis. In the meantime, the United Opposition is tonight asking President William Ruto to come clean on the privatization of various government parastatals, accusing the head of state of harboring personal interests in the sale of the public enterprises. Now, speaking at separate church events in Murang'a on Sunday, the opposition chiefs, who did not substantiate their claims, alleged the president's hand in the sale of East Africa Portland cement, as well as ongoing controversies at Nairobi Hospital. Let's give her more from our very own Kamau Mwangi.
He arrived at the Kirathani grounds in Gatanga constituency for Sunday's interdenominational surveys. Armed with a long list of institutions, the United Opposition alleges the president has had a hand in their sale or their current turbulent times. Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua reading out the list of sectors he alleges President William Ruto has spread his personal interests, all the while not providing any evidence.
Nairobi West Hospital ni yake. Na ndio aliua ile hospitali ya Mishra. Ndio yake ivume. Ameingia biashara ya insurance. The police insurance scheme ni yake. Ametoka hapo amechukua e-citizen. Ako na 80% shares ya e-citizen. Ametoka hapo mambo ya hospitality, mahoteli.
His wider Patriotic Front co-principal repeated claims of the alleged involvement of Ruto in various business transactions witnessed recently.
Katika wizi wa mali ya umma, ongeza East African Portland Cement. Imeuzwa hivi ati inauzwa kusema ni wa Tanzania wamenunua. We're even seriously investigating the recent divestiture, majority sale ya Nation Media.
Daktari ambaye wengi mnamjua, over 83-year-old professional Obuaka, is one of the most respected practitioners of medicine in the Republic of Kenya. Chris Bichage wameshikwa, wamewekwa ndani kwa sababu kuna mtu anataka hospitali inaitwa Nairobi Hospital.
The opposition chiefs have now vowed to challenge in court some of the transactions linked to public entities.
Safaricom, tumeambiwa na Munyoro hapa, it has been sold at a throwaway price. Kenya Pipeline ilikosa wanunuzi. Hata wale ambao wamenunua hapa Kenya tunajua walilazimishwa.
Tumesikia ile Adani tulimshinda. He is bringing Adani through the back door. We want to tell Bwana Ruto we are aware of what you're doing and we are going to go back to court to fight for JKI.
Also in the neighboring Kiharu constituency, Jubilee Deputy Leader Fred Matiang'i slammed State House over recent reports on utilization of its budgets.
How can State House need more money than Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital? The State House is not a referral hospital. Hakuna surgery inafanya huko. Kuna watoto wanasaliwa huko. Hakuna kidney transplant inafanya State House. Why do you need 17 billion?
Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV.
At the same time, Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna says the government has failed in implementing the 10-point MOU signed in March last year. Speaking in Meru County, the Nairobi Senator accused the government of continued abuse of police power and using the force in killings and abductions. He further accused the Kenya Kwanza administration of suppressing the freedom of expression as enshrined in the Constitution. Take a listen.
Tuliketi baba akiwa na mimi nikiwa pale, tukaandika ile MOU ambayo ili expire tarehe 7. Tuliandika hiyo MOU ndio hivi vitu iwache kufanyika. Sasa siku ile MOU imeisha, badala wakuja watuambie mambo ambayo wamefanya, wanakuja na uongo na ukora. Sisi tunataka turudishe nchi yetu kwa ile reli ambayo iko katika katiba yetu, kwamba tunaweza kuwa nchi ambayo tunatawaliwa na maadili 5 ama 6 muhimu ambayo iko katika katiba yetu.
Now, former cabinet minister Raphael Tuju has vowed to fight for his 27-acre piece of land in Karen following a dramatic eviction that has seen dozens of police officers camped outside the premises day and night. According to Tuju, the money owed to the East African Development Bank is far below the value of the property, which has since been auctioned. As MLH Chebet reports, Tuju and his employees held prayers outside his business premises, perhaps seeking divine intervention after losing a series of court cases. Take a listen.
It was an unusual Sunday morning outside Dari Business Park in Karen, Nairobi. A church service held by employees at the premises that until recently belonged to the former Foreign Affairs Minister Raphael Tuju, but has since been auctioned. The former minister and some employees have been blocked from accessing the property. And even though it's now under new ownership, Tuju says he will not give up, insisting that he has always been willing to pay the debt.
They don't have court orders. But even if they have court orders, the court orders would be about the premise and the land. But at least you should allow me to take my pencils, pens, and papers to live with. Yeah. And at least even if you have so much power, you can at least allow the lawyers, the professionals to move with their things.
The premises are now said to be under the ownership of an individual by the name Jackson Chebet of Alta Eureka Limited. Tuju has questioned the takeover, claiming the process has been politicized.
I borrowed 9 million, then they refused to pay the balance of the loan. They actually breached the contract. After breaching the contract, I said, okay, let me return you your money. I offered 10 million. So they said, no, you have to pay 12. Before I knew it, they had gone to a court in England and got judgment against me. And now they were claiming for 16 million. Then it went to 18. Then it went to 25 million US dollars. Then it went to 32, or those figures.
Kenya as a country has got debts to the tune of over 12 trillion shillings. It's not criminal for any businessman to have a debt, leave alone Raphael Tuju. Commercial debts are sorted out, disputes arising from commercial debts are sorted out within the confines of civil procedure law. So what business do the police have to come and raid a private facility in the wee hours of the night?
Tuju says he's not going to give up on his property, questioning why the 23 other premises within the business park have been locked out despite what he claims is a stop order against the auctioneers. Emily Chebet, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
We're going to go back to a story we told you earlier on, and tonight it is emerging that President William Ruto's name has been invoked in a series of meetings where senior government operatives pushed for changes in the board of the Nairobi Hospital. On Monday last week, the chairman of the Nairobi Hospital, Dr. Barclay Onyambu, was summoned to Harambee House, that's the office of the president, and was instructed to cause 3 vacancies in the board and names issued as replacement to those vacancies. Now, the board chair was reportedly told that arrests would follow if the changes were not made in the board. As our very own Citizen TV investigative reporter O.D. Francis reports, an intense scramble for the control of the hospital is appearing to approach a turning point. Take a listen.
It is an intense but silent scramble that has been going on for more than 1 year now. The arrest of Dr. Job Obwaka, Advocate Samson Kinyanjui, board member Valerie Gaya, and former board member Chris Bichage marks a nasty turning point in the scramble. Citizen TV has tonight established that an air of intimidation has been hanging over the Nairobi Hospital Board of Directors for some time now. 2 powerful offices have been mentioned, that is State House and Harambee House, both which constitute the country's seat of the presidency. In a meeting held at Harambee House on 9th March 2026, that is last week on Monday, the name of President William Ruto was invoked as senior official associated with the head of public service, Felix Kosgei, communicated express demands for changes in the Nairobi Hospital Board. According to sources, State House wanted 3 vacancies to be caused in the board. The meeting was also told of 3 names that instead be included in the board. The Nairobi Hospital Board chairperson, Dr. Barclay Onyambu, who attended the meeting, was told that the president required those changes within the week. This was reportedly followed with a threat that arrest would be made at the hospital if those changes are not effected. Sources confirm that numerous meetings have been held at Harambee House and State House to discuss the management of Nairobi Hospital. In one of the meetings, a senior government official told the Nairobi Hospital board members that President Ruto was deeply concerned because, and I quote, "Though Nairobi Hospital is a private hospital, it has a public character," end of quote. Sources also claim that State House previously directed the board to co-opt its nominees to the board. In a memo dated 6th February 2026, then Nairobi Hospital Company Secretary Gilbert Nyamweya announced to co-option into the board Dr. Sylvester Okumu Kasaku and Mr. Moses Agui Ondaba as board members. Both names reportedly submitted by Harambee House. Sources also allege that Harambee House wanted force up to 9 changes in the 14-member board. This would mean a majority control of the board and therefore the decision of the multi-billion shilling hospital. The Nairobi Hospital ownership structure is said to be the fuel behind the wrangles that has dogged the hospital for more than 3 years now. The hospital is run by the Kenya Hospital Association, a club-like grouping with more than 3,000 members. The hospital ownership is limited by guarantee under a Companies Act. The Kenya Hospital Association is a non-profit entity and operates a hospital whose monthly earnings are between 1.5 billion shillings and 1.6 billion shillings. The weak ownership structure is said to be a key factor in what insiders are describing as external pressure to force the hospital to be a company limited by shares as opposed to limited by guarantee. It is against this backdrop that members of the board say they have been facing intimidation, including threats of arrest for money laundering. And in a letter seen by Citizen TV, the Asset Recovery Authority wrote to NTSA listing 34 vehicles for investigations in relation to proceeds of money laundering. The Nairobi hospital say most of the vehicles belong to innocent staff members. The arrest of Dr. Job Ombaka and Samson Koinange has seemed within the Nairobi hospital, bore as part of an active move to take over the hospital. Ode Francis, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
All right, we're going to go on to the ongoing floods and change gears here. And the death toll from the latest floods has hit 69 as heavy rains continue to be found across several parts of the country. Now, the National Police Service has confirmed that more than 2,000 families have been displaced by the floods, which caused massive damage to property and infrastructure countrywide. In the meantime, Nairobi River's regeneration program has listed 37 neighborhoods located along major river corridors which are vulnerable to flooding. Our very own Serafine Achieng Oma visited some of the affected residents and brings us this report. Take a listen.
The death toll from the ongoing floods has risen to 69, with Nairobi County having the highest number of fatalities. According to the National Police Service, over 2,000 families have been displaced countrywide. This was the situation on Saturday night at Kwifra Estate, located along Likoni Lane off Dennis Pritt Road in Kilimani. The heavy skies opened up yet again, with storm water disrupting the silence of the night.
The entire swimming pool has come down onto my house.
The parking lot bearing the evidence of the aftermath, the force of the unforgiving waters which pushed through several walls, gates and cars.
You can see my car is there. It flew. The wall fell, and there is a swimming pool behind there which also broke. Along with that all pressure, my car and my neighbor's car, you can see the whole wall came onto us, and the cars have flown all the way. If there was any human here, they wouldn't have survived, that's definite. Over here, the house is inaccessible. The guys had to climb over from the other guy's house on the other side. It's a lot of damage.
The neighbors, assisted by the Kenya Red Cross, had to step in to rescue 4 children who were trapped in one of the houses.
This is catastrophic for our neighbors. I have lived here for 24 years and we have never seen this.
The residents have also raised security concerns after the walls separating the estate with the adjacent Kericho River were also brought down. This is not the first time, they say.
There's a grid rock as you turn into Likoni Lane, which cannot take all the storm water that comes from Nyangumi Road, Chaka Road and Renana Road. So all it does, it comes. We are the only people on the valley, so it comes this way. Exits from the gate of Pritt, comes into Kwifra. This is our death trap. We would ask the county government of Nairobi and Governor Sakaja and his team. He was here when he was inspecting the road. Let him come and inspect the drainage.
The adjacent Pritt Court was not spared. The waters invaded several houses, mostly on the ground floor, the parking lot and the swimming pool area.
This is going to cost a lot of money because now we have called a structural engineer to come and look at the place and be able to advise on what needs to be done. But for sure it's a big loss, not only to the common area and place, it's also a big loss to the tenants.
According to the Kenya Red Cross, other areas affected within Nairobi include First Avenue in Parklands, Ngando area along Ngong Road, Lower Kabete, Kibra, Department of Defense near Sitam Church and several places in South B, Kawangware, Langata and Lavington. Meanwhile, Nairobi River's regeneration program has identified 37 neighborhoods located along major river corridors as vulnerable to flooding. In Nairobi South, the mapping highlights Kilimani, Kibra, South C and South B, which lie along the Ngong River corridor. In Nairobi East, the areas identified include Kiambu, Dandora, Kariobangi, Ruai and many other areas lying along sections of the Nairobi River. Within Nairobi Central, key locations along the river corridor include CBD, Globe, Gikomba, Isili and Industrial Area. Residents living near riparian and in low-lying areas have been urged to remain vigilant and prioritize their safety during periods of heavy rainfall. Safina Chiengoma, Citizen TV.
We're going to switch gears here again and talk about athletics and the rivalry between US-based Kenyan marathoners Helen Obiri and Sharon Lokedi was extended to the New York City half marathon on Sunday morning, with Obiri winning the battle. Obiri won in a time of 1 hour, 6 minutes, 33 seconds, setting a new course record. Now, the previous course record holder, Sharon Lokedi, finished second ahead of third place Megan Keith. Another Kenyan, Agnes Ngetich, finished 13th. Check out part of the action.
I see half. Helen Obiri is a winner in New York. Once again, what a masterful performance as she breaks the record by more than 30 seconds today here in New York City. Incredible.
It is just so wonderful. There even was a smile. There's Jack.
Jack Fleming there. Oh, he's ready to see her back in Boston another year, as we said. She's going to London this year. But what an awesome
What a
athlete
performance.
there. Yep.
What an athlete. I really do feel you were right, Carrie. She was ready to run. It was as though she had been locked behind a door and it was unlocked today.
I know, exactly.
Hey, Sharon
Here
just
comes
coming in.
And congratulations to our very own Helen Obiri and, of course, Sharon Lokedi. Great championship there. We're going to take our first break here on Sunday Live. Plenty more ahead, including my guest tonight, superstar icon Patrick Njiru. He's going to be talking about the latest winner of the WRC earlier on that was announced, the Japanese champion. And guess what? Patrick also speaks Japanese, so it's going to be an arigato kind of interview. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag Sunday Live. Sunday Live takes a break. We'll be back. In the meantime, coming up. Japanese driver triumphs. Toyota Gazoo World Rally driver Takamoto Katutsa clinches the WRC Safari Rally 2026 championship.
Pepsodent is aware that globally 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. Give her Pepsodent. It repairs tiny holes and forms a protective layer for maximum cavity protection, so she can grow.
The hour. Welcome back to Sunday Live here at Citizen Television. Now, tens of Kenyans fighting in the Russia-Ukraine war could be repatriated back home should talks between Kenya and Russia bear fruit. Our Prime Cabinet Secretary, who's also the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Musalia Mudavadi, is tomorrow expected to hold bilateral talks with the Russian Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov, on the recruitment of Kenyans into the Russian war, with the meeting expected to, among other things, facilitate the conditional release and repatriation of Kenyans back to the country. Mudavadi, who arrived in Moscow earlier this evening, is also expected to push for Russia to put Kenya on its stop list to prevent future recruitment of Kenyans to the Russian military. Get more from our very own Emmanuel Toe in Moscow.
The meeting, which is slated for Monday afternoon, comes amid hue and cry over the recruitment of Kenyans into the Russian military, with Prime Cabinet Secretary, who is also the CS for Foreign Affairs, Musalia Mudavadi, set to engage the Russian Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov. A statement from the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs revealed that Mudavadi's talks with the Russian top government officials will seek to address the situation that surrounds Kenyans who may have been voluntarily or involuntarily drafted into the Russian military, and that the Prime CS will intensify diplomatic efforts to engage directly with Russian authorities through dialogue to prevent further risks arising from misleading recruitment or false promises of employment. The meeting is also expected to safeguard the Kenyan citizens affected by the ongoing Russian-Ukraine conflict and will include a push for the facilitation of the affected Kenyans through a safe process for their repatriation. Sources say the meeting will discuss ways to facilitate the unconditional release of all Kenyans recruited into the Russian army, unconditional release of Kenyans held in captivity in Ukraine as prisoners of war, repatriation of bodies of those who died in the front line, and the signing of new formal bilateral agreement between Moscow and Nairobi. As of 11th March 2026, the mission in Moscow had identified a total of 252 Kenyans involved in the Russian special military operations. Out of the 252, 44 of them have been safely repatriated back home, while 10 have been reported missing in action or killed in action. 38 are currently hospitalized in various Russian hospitals under restricted access. 160 remain actively involved in the special military operation.
During the meeting there will be discussing the current state and prospects of development of traditionally friendly Russian-Kenyan relations, delineate practical steps to further reinforce political dialogue and contacts on different avenues to grow mutually beneficial partnership in trade, economy, humanitarian spheres, and other spheres.
However, the National Intelligence Service has put the number of those recruited at over 1,000 Kenyans conscripted to fight for Russia in its 4-year war against Ukraine. The bilateral talks between Kenya's Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov is expected to, among other things, answer the question on how Kenyans were recruited and conscripted into fighting in the Russian-Ukraine war and how to put this into an end in the near future. Emmanuel Toh, Citizen TV, Moscow, Russia.
Our very own Manuel Toh in Moscow. Switching gears, and Kenya and Ugandan artists who benefited from the music empowerment of the late Emuria Dikir Member of Parliament Johanna Ngetich gathered today in Kapchorwa in Uganda to remember, the late legislator. Now, hundreds of locals from the neighboring Uganda thronged Boma Gardens in Kapchorwa as they joined the artists in song and dance as they remembered the Kalenjin music patron. Kenya leaders led by Uasin Gishu Senator Jackson Mandego also joined the locals in Uganda and called for music integration between the two countries and continued cross-border trade-ups. Take a listen.
And Kenyans coming to Uganda to do business. These countries in the East African community will continue to work together for the betterment of our East Africa community.
From that to World Rally News, and the 2027 edition of the WRC Safari Rally will be the first edition that will be fully organized and financed by the private sector. President William Ruto says the Ministry of Sports will still work with the private sector to ensure the rally is a success. Our sports reporter Michael Key on the ground with that story in Naivasha. Take a listen.
4 days of man versus machine battle culminated with the final stage of the World Rally Championship Safari Rally in Hell's Gate, Naivasha. The fans came out in their numbers, eager to catch the thrilling action up close. The drivers did not disappoint as Takamoto Katsuta, Adrian Fomo and Sami Payari finished in the first 3 positions. Takamoto took over the lead on Saturday after the top 3 drivers retired with mechanical and electrical problems. For Takamoto, the final leg was not easy at all.
We had so many difficulties on the moments. Very hard to work with me, and team was always very with me, even I'm failing all the time.
Fomo and Payari gave a good account of themselves as they held their nerve to finish on the podium. This is a first podium finish for the 2 drivers at the Safari Rally competition.
To make it through the end and with a very good result, it's been quite impressive, especially Saturday midday. So thanks to them.
Well, yeah, that was really an one adventure, really tough rally. felt like it lasted for ages somehow. But yeah, it's just how this rally is. The nature is like that.
President William Ruto was the chief guest at the closing stage of the rally, and he came bearing good news.
This is the last Safari Rally where we will be expending public money to promote it. From next year, this event will be fully funded, fully supported by the private sector.
The president gave a history of the Safari Rally over the years, with new changes this year set to become permanent in the subsequent Safari Rally events.
This year's rally marked an important new chapter. The ceremonial starts and the Kasarani Super Special in Nairobi were replaced by a focused Naivasha-only itinerary.
The rally started on Thursday and ran through 20 stages in 4 days. Fans' favorite Takamoto Katsuta of Japan has won the WRC Safari Rally and continued with the Toyota tradition of winning this event ever since it was back in the WRC series in 2021. The end of the 2026 edition signifies the start of the 2027 edition, which hopefully will still be in the WRC series. Michael Kinyi for Citizen TV in Naivasha, Nakuru County.
All right, on that note, back in the day when rallying was strictly a foreign preservative, this man here went to Japan and got into mechanics and got into engineering and studied it, and also went and studied the tradition. Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Arigato.
Arigato gozaimasu.
My brother. Patrick Njiru, man. Sit down. You're such a superstar, man.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you for your time. And thank you for what you did, because if it wasn't for you, rallying wouldn't be as popular as it is today. It wasn't for people like you, because there was no local who was racing back in your time.
That's true. That's true. What you've said, bro, is so good. But you make me feel so happy. And first of all, I must say, it's good to be back in this studio. It's the last time we were together here with you. And, bro, I went through a lot.
Yes.
Being asked, where is Jeff? What has happened with Jeff? He said, no, Jeff is okay. Jeff is fine. And,
you even called coach.
Yeah, I called
coach.
I called coach mwenyewe. Akaniambia wachana na hiyo maneno. Then I called Monica. Monica akaniambia wachana na hiyo maneno, because last time we were here,
yes,
we were celebrating Monica's birthday. We were giving Monica the birthday cake.
We'll get to that in a moment. But first, what do you think of Takamoto?
This is very, very nice. It's incredible. Moto. Takamoto. Taka has been here. Good experience. A very nice Japanese young chap whom today I was with him, and this gear you see me in is his gear.
Oh.
He gave me last Sunday when we were at the Toyota celebration.
Yes.
He himself with Yuha Kankunen.
Yes.
Yuha, we used
Yuha Kankunen.
Yuha Kankunen.
Yes.
He's the team principal now for Toyota. So we had a gathering at the Toyota at the showroom in Mombasa Road, where he brought the Takamoto and the other Eddie Evans to come and sign the autographs, and we were there. Then we were remembering the good old days of the safari.
The good old days.
But one thing.
But this kid is good. This
is incredible Japanese guy. First time in 34 years a Japanese has won the world championship. First was the Mitsubishi driver who won in Ivory Coast.
Right.
Kenjiro
Shinozuka.
Back in 92.
Wow.
And now Takamoto comes. It's fire in Japan. Wildfire. The celebrations, how they...
Yes.
It was incredible today.
You were telling me earlier on it was breaking news in Japan.
Breaking news.
And they were 8 hours ahead or 6 hours ahead.
In the evening there, breaking during the break. It was such a big tomorrow in the newspaper, as you know, Mainichi Shimbun, 30 million copies, front page of Takamoto. Tomorrow, and Kenya.
In Kenya.
Safari Rally.
Yes.
Safari Rally.
What does this do for us, Patrick? And you've been outside, you've been here. What does this kind of publicity do for a country like this?
It's incredible. We cannot be able to pay for it. And this is the best time now for us to get back to Japan, go back quickly to Japan, bring the Japanese drivers and bring the Japanese manufacturer cars here so that we can get the young drivers, just like the way we started.
Yes.
Get the young drivers to get the cars that they can come back and be able to drive and get back like the way His Excellency the President said today. There is an academy which has been lodged for the young drivers. To get them into this, they must know how to left foot brake, how to kanyaga your brake on your left foot, because you are right, it's always on the accelerator.
Yes.
The left foot braking and the clutching is left for those two purposes.
Yes.
So to be able to teach these youngsters in the 18, 19, come back 22, 23, if you look at those champions, they're around 25. By the time they get into that level, we know they are on the climb, they are on the hill climb.
Tell me something, Patrick. Yesterday, the course, a lot of the drivers, they quammered, the engines, whatever it was. There's something happened. They retired yesterday. What happened?
It's incredible. One mud hole, which was so deep, the car did not suck the water, it sucked the mud back to the engine. Because the exhaust pipes got stuck, and then typical of our drivers who from Europe, they don't understand this kind of thing.
Yes.
They switched off the engine. When they tried to crank the engine, the mud sucked back onto the pistons. And that's it. 3 of them following each other in the roll in the same mud hole.
Yes.
The Toyotas were 1, 2, and 3, and these are the top. These were the top guys. They all retired in the same place. Same position, same mud hole.
Are you serious?
Same place. But Tucker was very cool, calm, came down there, put in a second gear, diverted, and managed to get out of the same mud hole.
Would you have been able to?
Absolutely. We did that in 1990.
Tell me.
In the safari in 1990, there is no safari in the history of Kenya which was as wet as the Safari Rally in 1990.
Okay.
During those days of the marble.
Yes.
You go to the Chulus, you could not go the whole of Loitoktok. It was not tarmac then. But the water was almost half a meter. You had to put second gear and drive slowly, getting the water, blowing the water out of the engine, slowly in second gear for almost 20 kilometers. We landed back in Nairobi 4th after starting 18th.
No.
Yeah, in 1990.
Because
Safari.
others retired along the way.
Yeah, they retired. They slowed down. When they slow down the engine, the water goes back to the engine. So you come down there and you know all of this. But it's good. It's good experience.
But Patrick, during these floods the last few weeks,
yes,
same thing is happening to people on the highways.
I know.
Right?
We have to get it. Yeah, we have to teach the people that...
Put the car in second gear.
Yeah. Just accelerate, pole. You'll get out of wherever you are. Don't stop. Even if you slow down, just keep the accelerator going. Don't lift the accelerator. The moment you lift the accelerator and the water is blowing, the water comes back again onto the engine. You slow down, you stop. That's it.
The car stalls.
That's what happened.
And you have to call, Ochieng,
you can't
the
get
mechanic.
Out. Yeah. You can't get out. The water is up there on the roof and the barrier and all of this. And it's all about that technique and experience and, amazing.
I want to talk more about that after the break, Patrick, because, you set the standard, man. You set the standard. And plus, you speak Japanese, man.
Arigato.
Patrick Njiru is in the house today. What a star. What a pleasure. What a joy it is to have this man. By the way, the baby face never ages, man. What does this guy eat? He never ages.
Because I told you the secret.
What's the secret?
Eat what you know.
But you're in Japan. Did you eat sushi?
Absolutely. When you live with Japanese, you do as they do.
Patrick Njiru. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya. The hashtag is Sunday Live. Sunday Live takes a break. We'll be back. Plenty more ahead in a moment. Breaking the water burden cycle. We tell you how a multi-million water project is promising to quench the thirst of Kisumu residents. 3 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Sunday Live. Here at Citizen Television. Now on to our weekly feature, Citizen Planet. And as climate change tightens its grip, experts warn that a growing global water crisis is again putting women on the front line, forced to walk further as vital water sources dry up. Now, here in Kenya, data from the Water Resources Authority shows that nearly 44% of the population still lacks access to safe water, with groundwater increasingly unreliable due to erratic rainfall. Yet, amid the uncertainty, a multi-million shilling grant to Kenya is easing the burden for some communities, bringing much-needed relief where water has become scarce. Our very own Laura Otieno reports on a drip of hope slowly quenching the thirst of residents in Kisumu.
The green hills of Chemelil hide a quiet turmoil that residents here have endured for decades. The streams that once snaked through these plantations have long since dried up, occasionally roaring back into life during the long rains. Mary Okongo and her son walk this path, a daily journey in search of water. Each step tells the story of hundreds of residents of Holo village in Kisumu.
I remember seeing some cattle rustlers hiding in the plantation. They were wearing cow skins. I dropped the 2 buckets of water I had and ran for my life.
In the past, nobody will even give you drinking water in this village. Because if you think about how far you had to walk, we did not even shower daily, and we suffered a lot.
Today, however, that journey takes less than 10 minutes from Mary's homestead. This towering tank is more than just a source of water. It stands as a symbol of hope for the community. For the past 4 months, the steady spin of the meter has come to represent something greater, the slow but meaningful turn in the lives of residents here.
Tulikuwa tunatembea chini. Kurudi, huwezi fanya chochote kwa maana umechoka. Hakuna kazi unaweza fanya, watoto hawawezi kwenda shule vizuri.
The Holo Water Project was established at a cost of 3.4 million shillings, funded under the Financing Locally Led Climate Action Program. The conditional grant was extended to 42 counties in 2022 after the government signed the agreement aimed at empowering local communities to finance climate-resilient projects at the grassroots. To qualify for the funding, each county had to, among other things, commit at least 1.5% of its development budget to a climate change fund, enact a County Climate Change Act to provide a legal framework for climate action, as well as setting up ward climate planning committees to ensure community involvement.
This process was known as a participatory climate risk assessment, and they identified their priority areas based on the challenges that they have. And 60% of the projects were water.
An estimated 35% of Kenyans have access to piped water. And as climate change ravages across the country, groundwater sources are once again under threat.
The Global Water Bankruptcy Report, published in 2026, showed that 70% of aquifers across the world have been depleted. The report recommends, among other things, the transparent accounting for water, mainly in areas already facing the stress of lack of water. At Kandaria village in Nyakach, the frustration on the faces here mirrors the depleting water sources. Where a bubbling fountain once stood, plastic pipes pop out precariously, dispensing a thin stream of whatever water remains locked down below.
Tuko nyingi hapo, watu wako wengi hapo. Kwa hivyo tunachukua muda mingi kabla ya kupata maji. Masaa mawili hivi kabla ya kuchota hata ndao moja.
With water being an integral part of cushioning communities against climate shocks, the Kisumu County government is looking to set up the Rural Water Sanitation Fund operationalized by the Water Act 2023.
We are setting up an entity that will coordinate water provision within the rural areas, and this will increase water coverage within the rural areas.
For now, the water tower stands tall. As Mary waters her kitchen garden, she is growing not just her crop, but a conviction that her grandchildren will not have the challenges of accessing water. Altieno, Citizen TV.
Coming up in sports, Kogalo go 10 points clear. Gor Mahia register a commanding 3-1 victory over Ulinzi Stars to stretch their lead at the top of the KPL summit.
A common sign of sensitivity is a short, sharp pain to hot and cold. A lot of my...
Exactly 3 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Sunday Live. Here's Citizen Television on to sports news. And Gor Mahia continued their march towards the Kenyan Premier League title with an impressive 3-1 win over Ulinzi Stars, opening a 10-point gap over arch-rivals AFC Leopards. Now, Enoch Morrison set the 21-time champions on their way after converting a penalty before Patrick Esombe doubled the lead in the 69th minute. Musa Sharif then sealed the victory with a third goal for Kogalo, while Edward Odhiambo pulled one back for Lindsay Stars late in the game. Elsewhere, KCB were held to a 1-1 draw by Moranga Seal, while Tusker FC registered a solid 2-0 win over Kakamega Homeboys.
Imekuwa ni muda sana. Patrick Esombe Kanjum anauzwa Kogalo ligi kuu msimu huu. Kazi kubwa yake Sharif, finishing yake Patrick Esombe baada ya pasi tamu kabisa. Anairusha ndefu Kapen. Esombe, Sharif! Ni show yake Sharif Musa Sirengo Ramadhan. Sio kwamba amefunga Ramadhan tu, lakini anawafunga tena Ulinzi Stars. Oh, amenyanyuka Patroneli Udawalo. Show najazwa ndani. Oh! Edward Odhiambo, kichwa kama mkuki. Ilikuwa ni kichwa kama mkuki yake Edward Odhiambo, ambaye naye pia ni super sub. Alienda juu angani, akaicheza kichwa mpaka wanapata moja.
Kweli tunaenda kwa drawing board na tutaenda pia kuangalia upande wa kuzuia, kwa sababu ukiangalia hii ndio mechi tumefungwa mabao mingi. Na sio ati tumegorima mapata makosa zetu, upande defending ndio imekuwa na tatizo kidogo. Tutarudi kwa drawing board, tuenda kurekebisha na pia tutilie mkazo upande wa ufungaji, tuone kwa game next kama tutapata mabao na tupate ushindi.
Today we dealt deep into our tactical play. We needed to be sound, we needed to be smart. We knew we were not going to get too many chances, but we needed to be smart, and the boys today has been very, very impressive in terms of tactically how we played, and we are very happy we managed to get it.
At the same time, at Gusii Stadium in Kisii, Kariobangi Sharks handed Shabana FC a second straight Kenya Premier League defeat after edging them 2-1 in a lively clash in Kisii town. Despite the setback, Shabana remain third on the table with 40 points, but now find themselves 13 points adrift of league leaders Gor Mahia. Take a look.
Fungwa cha Uingereza.
ndipo unapoenda. Alipangiwa Vietnam, ndipo kwenye balai wanapata uongozi Shabana Tore Bobe. Kigan Afya Roko cheza na Steven Bwire Mbulere. Afya Roko Mundi anaitaka Razel, anamwekea tena, imesomwa ya kwanza. Razel bado, Razel Nicholas Onyango. Razel super substitution amenyanyuka. William Muluya youngster amerudisha mchezoni, ikasomwa akapasua katikati ya mawimbi pale, akauficha mwisho kule. TJM had no chance. Angeufuata vipi Nicholas Onyango Razel? Goli lake la kwanza msimu huu. Balance. Nafasi nyingine, goal! Macvivan Kesa katika ardhi ngumu zaidi anaweka isima. Hapa ni mpigo wa pap, sauti zinasikika akilia. Yale ya jana anajirudia leo. Another comeback has been done yet.